Cybersecurity experts are offering tips on protection against cyber attacks. Robert Falzon of Checkpoint Canada says keeping computers and mobile devices up to date with the latest software is critical. Mr. Falzon also suggests that people download ransomware protection software and be hyper aware when opening emails or text messages from unknown sources. The Rogers Cybersecure Catalyst Center at Toronto Metropolitan University says the use of ransomware is growing as part of a multi-billion-dollar global crime industry. Well, joining us now to discuss cybersecurity in Canada is Mr. Robert Falzon himself. Sir, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thanks for having me.
So as we mentioned, the use of ransomware is growing. So what do we know so far about the scale of cyber attacks in Canada in particular?
It's quite incredible. We've seen an over 20% increase in attacks for Canadian enterprises and Canadian companies over the course of the last year or so. So it continues to dramatically increase year over year. So this is not a problem that's going away anytime soon.
Very concerning problem there. Now, as technology continues to evolve, so do the threats against it. So can you tell us a little bit more about how cyber threats have been evolving most recently?
Well, what's happening really is that we're seeing now that tools are becoming more and more accessible to more people. Hackers that maybe not are as skilled as some of the ones that are the most dangerous are now finding themselves empowered with tools that are using artificial intelligence and machine learning to create attacks and to help them form different types of attacks and malware that is actually quite efficient and quite effective at attacking people. So we're seeing more in a broad range of people entering the attack marketplace, if you will.
That's really concerning that less skilled hackers are being given the tools to hack your personal information. Now, in terms of victims, we've been seeing some really big targets lately, LCBO, Sick Kids, Royal Mail. But what is the risk to maybe smaller businesses and individual Canadians here?
Well, certainly risk to brand and things like that, what we typically think with any problem that you would have with a product or a service, right? But there's also, in some cases, these things can affect your health, right? We start to see theft of things like medical records and certainly financial information, especially from those most vulnerable or more vulnerable populations even. These kinds of threats become an incredible problem for them as well. So I think that we're going to continue to see that type of attack even in the smaller mom and pop type of organizations.
So what can these small businesses or individual Canadians do to protect themselves, Mr. Falzon?
I would say straight up cyber hygiene, right? It really goes back down to the basics. There's an old saying that says you don't have to run faster than the bear. You just have to run faster than everybody else running from the bear. So if you take even basic level protections for yourself, change your passwords, make sure all your things are up to date, all your patches and software for your computers at home and your devices and things that your kids use. Make sure that those things are all up to date and you're already going to be better off than the next person. And just be more aware and make sure that your children and those around you, maybe even the elderly, are taken care of as well, because they might not be as up to speed on some of these technologies. Help them as well.
And are there any maybe policies that officials should maybe consider when it comes to improving cybersecurity in Canada?
Yeah, there's a place for legislation here for sure. I think the government can be doing more as far as helping businesses to develop and maintain security policies that are implement accountability mechanisms, right? Make sure that they're held accountable for when they have poor cyber hygiene or when they mistreat customers' data. We need to improve some of those protections for Canadians in order to make sure that this is better looked after.
And how does an expert such as yourself protect against cyber threats against your company, against your own personal information?
So I'm very fortunate. I work for an organization that develops these tools. So I'm constantly updating my tools and certainly my operating system and things for the devices that I'm using. But I also have the benefit of a number of researchers that are helping me to spot the threats. So I spend a lot of my time really helping others to spot those threats as well and become more aware.
All right, Mr. Falzon, about a minute left here, but if you could leave our viewers with just one message or one key piece of advice when it comes to cybersecurity, what would it be?
I would say to educate yourself, learn a little bit more and understand that, I always hear, hackers wouldn't be interested in me because I'm not interesting or I have nothing to hide or anything like that. It's one of the biggest fallacies. The problem is everybody's at risk. You, your parents, if you have children, them. Just make sure that you're taking the basic steps to protect yourself. Again, that will set you in a better place and make sure that you're not the next victim.
All right, Robert Falzon from Checkpoint Canada, thank you again for your time today.
Thank you very much.